Relapse doesn't start with the drink in your hand. It starts hours, sometimes days before, in a thought, a feeling, a quiet moment when your mind whispers, maybe just one. But what if, instead of fighting your mind, you could retrain it? What if you could teach it how not to drink, even when every cell in your body is screaming for it? That's the power of cognitive behavioral therapy. For anyone recovering from alcohol dependence, relapse can feel like a monster hiding in the shadows. Quiet, patient, just waiting for the right moment to strike. But science tells a very different story. Relapse isn't some random attack from the outside. It's a predictable process, one that unfolds step by step in your mind long before the first drink is ever poured. And that's where cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, comes in. It doesn't shame you or lecture you. It doesn't demand perfection. Instead, it helps you understand your own patterns, and that understanding becomes your greatest strength. Let's talk about Mark. He'd been sober for 93 days. He was jogging again, calling his kids every weekend, even laughing without that hollow ache that used to follow him everywhere. Things were looking up, but one night after a heated argument with his ex-wife, he found himself sitting in his car outside a liquor store, engine running, heart pounding in his chest. He hadn't taken a drink, but his thoughts were already spiraling. What's the point of all this? I've already failed as a father. Maybe just one drink will calm me down. That moment, right there, is where CBT works its magic. It's built on a simple but powerful idea. Our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings shape our actions. So if you can change the way you think, you can change the way you act, and ultimately, you can change the way you live. CBT helps people dissect the chain reaction that leads to relapse. It looks something like this. First, there's a trigger, a fight, a feeling of loneliness, stress, or even a celebration. That trigger leads to a thought, I can't handle this, or I deserve a drink. That thought creates a feeling, anxiety, shame, or an intense craving. And that feeling drives the behavior, reaching for a drink. By recognizing these patterns, you can step in before that final step. You can break the chain before the behavior happens. This isn't about raw willpower, it's about awareness. Working with his counselor, Mark started to map out every relapse he'd ever had. Where was he? What time was it? Who was he with? And most importantly, what was he thinking right before he drank? This wasn't about blame. It was about seeing the invisible patterns that had been controlling him for years. He said, once I saw it all on paper, it wasn't just chaos anymore. It was a roadmap. I could see the relapse coming, which meant I could finally do something different. That's CBT in a nutshell, turning confusion into clarity. So what do you do when a craving hits like a tidal wave? Instead of fighting it, CBT teaches you to ride it. Imagine it like a wave in the ocean that rises, peaks, and eventually falls. You can learn to observe it without getting swept away. You tell yourself, this is just a feeling. It's intense, but it's temporary. It will pass. And the science backs this up. Brain imaging studies show that when we practice observing our urges, instead of reacting to them, the craving centers in our brain actually calm down faster. Every time you resist, even for just 5 minutes, you're strengthening new neural pathways. Your brain is learning something extraordinary. I can survive this craving. Now, what about that dangerous thought? I've already failed, so what's the point? CBT has a name for this, the abstinence violation effect. It's that all or nothing, I already blew it mentality that turns a single slip into a full-blown relapse. Through a process called cognitive restructuring, therapists teach you to challenge those thoughts head-on. Instead of thinking, I blew it, you reframe it. One drink doesn't erase all my progress. Or, I can stop now and learn from this. That single, reframed thought can be the difference between a one-night slip and giving up completely. The research is clear. Major studies published in journals like the Addiction and JAMA Psychiatry confirm that people who learn these cognitive restructuring techniques have significantly lower relapse rates and longer periods of abstinence compared to those who rely on motivation alone. Why? Because CBT is practical. It's about building a toolbox for real life. You rehearse how to say no when someone offers you a drink at a party. You schedule meaningful, healthy activities to fill the void that alcohol left behind. You write down coping plans for your personal high-risk situations, so you're prepared before the trigger ever appears. This repetition is key. Neuroscience shows that creating new healthy habits requires consistent practice to strengthen those neural circuits. It is just like building muscle at the gym. The more you practice your coping skills, the more automatic they become. Mark created a simple, written plan. When his triggers hit, loneliness, arguments, fatigue, he had a list of coping tools ready to go. Call his sponsor, go for a run, or practice urge surfing for 10 minutes. He even had an emergency plan, text his counselor before he acted on an impulse. It wasn't foolproof, but it was a safety net, one that could catch him before he fell. And when he did have a slip once, it didn't spiral out of control. Because CBT doesn't see relapse as failure, it sees it as feedback. It's just data you can use to make your next plan even stronger. Major health organizations around the world, from Project Match in the US to the NICE guidelines in the UK, have proven that CBT effectively reduces alcohol use, increases sober days, and helps people recover faster after a slip. And when CBT is combined with medication-assisted treatments like naltrexone or acamprosate, its effects grow even stronger. Together they retrain both the mind and the body. The changes are real and you can see them. In brain imaging studies, patients who complete a course of CBT show improved activity in their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and self-control. This means therapy doesn't just change your thoughts, it physically changes your brain for the better. It teaches you how to manage stress, regulate your emotions, challenge self-defeating beliefs, and rebuild trust, not just with others, but with yourself. CBT doesn't erase the pain of the past, but it teaches you a new, healthier way to live through it. As Mark put it, CBT didn't make the cravings disappear, it made me understand them. And that's the fundamental truth of recovery. It isn't about being perfect, it's about building awareness, making conscious choices, and treating yourself with compassion. Every person in recovery carries both their past and their potential. CBT helps you see that those two things don't have to be at war with each other. They can coexist. Ultimately, relapse prevention isn't about never falling down. It's about learning how to get back up, faster, stronger, and wiser every single time. Cognitive behavioral therapy gives you that power, not by silencing your mind, but by teaching it to speak a new language, a language of hope, resilience, and control. If you or someone you know is struggling, please know that effective help is available. Talk to a doctor or a mental health professional about whether CBT is right for you. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more content on health and recovery. Take care.